everyone, welcome to the Geek Life. I'm your host, the Ginger Wolf Man, or let's just start calling me Chris. Gonna win all the Ginger Wolf Man thing, trying things a little bit different this time around, just being me. Now when I started this channel I said I would do content about video games, comic books, sci-fi, basically all the fandoms, and I feel like I've been neglecting that somewhat, so we're gonna get down to some other fandom stuff instead of just gaming, which you've been seeing a lot of on this channel lately. And we're gonna do a little list feature this time. Basically, today we're gonna do the 5 worst sci-fi armies you can join. Now, the thing about sci-fi armies, in most sci-fi there's always conflict, always some war going on, so in basically all the sci-fi shows survival probability is pretty low if you're not a main character. But we're gonna take a look now at 5 armies that are specifically a violent offender in this instance. The first one we've got are the normal soldiers in Gundam. In all the Gundams, animes, the mangas, anything Gundam, if you're a regular soldier who is not seated in a Gundam, you are basically dead. I mean, yeah, you got your giant mechs, you got your spacesuits, your armor, even your big ass battle tanks, your giant flying mechs. But at the end of the day, they're really not as good as the actual Gundams, are they? And, well, if you get into a battle mech of, let's say, the Earth Defense Force, and you're going up against Gundam, chances are, before you can even get to the Gundam itself, you're gonna be ripped apart, sliced in half by some kind of energy weapon or some kind of ammo that the Gundams have that you didn't know about, that your superiors probably knew about, but they just neglected to tell you. So if you step into the world of Gundam as a normal infantry soldier or a normal mech driver, is driver a good term for mechs? I'm not so sure. Anyway, if you step into one of those, we can be quite sure that you're just gone. Now, at number 4, we find a tie. Because I feel like these two are kind of the same thing, although in a different setting. And I am talking about the Colonial Marines from the Alien series and the Starship Troopers, who are basically also Colonial Marines from Starship Troopers. Now, the reason why I've put these two together is pretty simple. Your main weapons are shite. They're just fucking crap. But yeah, you can shoot some stuff. Maybe even kill either an alien or an... What the hell are those bugs called? I think they're just called bugs, aren't they? They probably have a fancy term, but in most times in Starship Troopers they're just referred as bugs. So, yeah, you might take some of them down. Sure. It's even possible you've survived for a couple of fights. But you're fighting with... Basically, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. In Alien, I mean, you got your alien queen who's just keep spawning the aliens, who keeps laying these eggs. Chances are you might actually end up being impregnated by one of those eggs. And if it's not you, it's gonna be one of your close friends in your squad. And then they die, and you've got another alien to worry about. The Starship Troopers, the aliens, the insects, the bugs, just pop out of the ground, and basically, just like when there are enough aliens around, start overwhelming your defenses and taking you down all the same. That's why I put them on number 4 together, because I feel like they're kind of the same. I mean, same setup. But yeah, you're gonna be toast, aren't you? I mean, look at just the game Alien Isolation. I don't think there's a Starship Troopers game. They should make one though. Just being in the vicinity, like knowing that these things are coming, either aliens or the bugs. Yeah, pray to whatever god you pray to that you'll live to see the next day. The next one I want to talk about at number 3 are the Jafar. Now, the Jafar are from Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, just any old Stargate basically. Now remember, Stargate was pretty popular when I was growing up. I'm in my 30s now, so younger viewers may not know about the series. Basically, Jafar were not really genetically altered, but they were bred from the normal Earth populace thousands of years ago to function as hosts for the goa'ulds, who were a race of parasitic beings who managed space flight and then all of that, and then technology that will blow your minds. Seriously, if you have the time, go watch Stargate SG-1 up to season 7. It's a pretty decent series. From season 7 towards 10 it gets kinda Anyway, the Jafar. Now, what's special about the Jafar is that they have no immune system anymore. They got this little pouch on their belly which hosts a goa'uld larva. Somewhere around their puberty they get their larva inside of them, which matures over time and then gets taken out of them. They get implanted with a new one, and the goa'uld larva becomes an actual goa'uld, taking over a host body and blah blah blah, making one of the system lords, as they say. Well, if that's not bad enough, let's say you're taking it up, let's say you pissed off the goa'uld you're serving. Because all Jafar serve one of the system lords, one of the goa'ulds who are fully grown. Say you pissed him off, and he decided, you know what, I'm gonna punish you. What he can do is just rip inside and take out the goa'uld larva and just let you slowly die because your immune system is just shot. At this point you're bleeding internally, you're susceptible to any kind of virus, any kind of bacteria, and let me tell you something, that's just gonna kill you. But, I mean, in the Jafar culture, there are Jafar who have become freed of the system lords. What about them? First of all, if one of the larvae of a Jafar who's free matures, you have to find a new one. Because the old one is either gonna die, crawl out, or needs to be removed, in what manner whatsoever. That means that the moment that thing leaves your body, you've got very limited time to actually go to a goa'uld world where the larvae are, and you can try and take one. If you're with a group of like 100, maybe 1,000 people, you can do this. Sure, it's possible. However, if you're just a small group who has decided to abandon system lords, let's say 10 to 20 people, yeah, you can kiss your ass goodbye, you're dead. And even if you do find one, and then let's say you join the Tok'ra, which are basically a kind of resistance group, or the group of free Jafar who don't get implemented by the goa'uld larva. Well, if you're either one of these groups, you're gonna be hunted down by the system lords, and they will do everything in their power to find you, to kill you, and to erase you from existence. Now, does that sound like a fun future to you? Because it really doesn't to me. Which brings me to number 2. Talking about futures, let's go 40k into the future. That's right, I'm talking about the Imperial Army from Warhammer 40k. The first thing, in an age of basic demigods, of war machines, of titans, the thing you are is just a normal human running around with a weapon that does fuck all to everything that's larger than you are. Last rifle, yeah, sure, it can pierce the eye of an orc. It can hit a tyrannid. Sure it can. But if you're going up against demons, if you're going up against chaos, if you're going up against anything that comes out of the warp, or the Tau, or the Elder, your last rifle is not gonna do anything. And let's not forget just traveling to one of the theaters of war in the 40k universe. You have to go through something called the warp, which is an alternate dimension where the chaos gods basically live and where the chaos demons exist as pure energy force. Every ship of the Imperial fleet is protected by a Geller field. I'm hoping it was Geller field. It was either Geller or Geyser field. Anyway, they're protected by a field that stops these warp creatures, these chaos creatures, to come in. Yeah, sounds okay. Fine, sounds like it's a good plan. However, in most of the fiction surrounding 40k, there's always a ship in the armada, in the fleets, who loses their Geiger fields, their Geller fields, their defensive shields, and basically is just devoured by warp creatures. Either you go insane from staring into the warp, or letting the voices of the warp float in, or it's a full breach incursion of demons, where your little puny last weapons will do fuck all against. So again, you're dead. Which brings me to my number 1 slot. And it's something I don't think a lot of people see coming, because they have an idea that this faction is actually pretty cool, pretty sweet. They definitely have like one of the biggest fan bases around. And it's Starfleet from the Star Trek series. Now, yeah, sure, I mean, we all know the red shirts, which is not true, by the way. More on that maybe in a later video. But let's just take a second here to consider Starfleet. You are part of a starfaring race that goes out exploring everything, who comes into contact with much older and much more powerful civilizations, and you're basically there saying, "Hi, I want to shake your hand, I want to be your friend." Well, didn't work with the Zindi, didn't work with the Romulans, didn't work with the Kardashians, didn't work with the Klingons, didn't work with the Borg. Let's not, I mean, we'll get deeper into that in a bit. Didn't work with the Dominion, didn't work with the Shapeshifters. And can you still see me? Yeah. It's all floating around here, and I mean, just the number of enemies, and these are just a number of them. I haven't even talked about all of them. I mean, the Breen were against us, the Andorians were against us. It was chaos all around. There are very few races that we got along with straight off the bat. And yeah, we patched things up with Klingons, we patched kind of things up with Xindi and the Romulans. Cardassians, yeah, basically they were defeated. The Dominion changelings, yeah, they're pretty much gone now. However, the conflicts, the Romulan wars, the war with the Klingon Empire, the Cardassian border conflicts, and the Borg. Let's go into the Borg now. I have just one word and a number for you. Wolf 359. Any Star Trek fan here will know what I am talking about. One of the major, well, the biggest battle fought against the Borg, and the Starfleet failed spectacularly. Almost all of their ships wiped out that were in that battle. Few losses for Borg, yeah, sure, but a lot more losses for Starfleet. And that's the species that you're up against. Let's not forget ion storms. Let's not forget wormholes, who are maybe even eating your ship. There have been occurrences of this happening in the series. Subspace distortions that can trap you. Teleporter accidents. These were a thing more in the original series than in the later ones. You can get trapped in the Delta Quadrant like Voyager did. You can come up across countless possibilities out in space. And not one of them is an actual friendly encounter. I mean, most forces of nature aren't friendly things. They're not nice. Ion storms, subspace distortions. I mean, these are basically the hurricanes and the earthquakes and the volcano eruptions of outer space. We've seen how devastating they can be here on Earth. Now imagine that in the vastness of space. Yeah, Starfleet is definitely something I don't want to join if I have the choice. Now then, that was my number one. I know it's not the nicest list, but remember, this is my personal preferences, my personal opinion on these sci-fi armies. They're not all that bad once you get used to it, I guess. I mean, Starfleet, Imperial Army, Jafar, they all have their benefits as well. I'm gonna do a list of the best sci-fi armies, perhaps, at one point. Yeah, if you have other ideas, if you think, no, this is the worst army in sci-fi history, please let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, it's always appreciated. And as always, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.